Hello everyone. Welcome to the Unit 5 of Week 4 discussion. The unit outcomes are design assessment plan for continuous internal evaluation and semester end examination. So if you could recall, in the last unit, we have discussed about the stages of designing good quality assessment instrument. So the first stage is to write course outcomes, and then comes the design and development of assessment plan. So in the last unit, we have discussed that how do we write good quality course outcomes and what is the importance of writing course outcome. And in this unit, we are in the stage 2 of designing assessment instrument. And this particular stage, the second stage, deals with designing assessment plans. So I will take you back to the course outcomes that we have discussed in the last unit, the sample ones, and we will try to refer to the same set of course outcomes for the discussion on assessment plan. So what you are seeing are the course outcomes of the course analog circuits and systems. You can see that there are around 9 course outcomes, okay, and the mapping of these course outcomes with program outcomes and program specific outcomes are specified, and the information related to the cognitive level and the knowledge category is also specified. Along with that, how many hours are dedicated for classroom transaction and how many hours are dedicated for lab hours, that is also specified in this table. Okay. So in all, this particular course has 9 course outcomes and 45 classroom teaching hours and around 30 lab hours. So in all, 75. Now, if we have these set of course outcomes with us, how does it look like when we are viewing it in the Anderson-Bloom's taxonomy table? Now, in this table, you can see that the course outcomes that we have just discussed about the sample course, you can see that how these course outcomes can be organized in terms of the cognitive levels and in terms of the knowledge categories they belong to. Okay, so basically it shows us the spread, and we will use the same taxonomy table for designing the assessment plan and also for designing the assessment items. Okay, so as we know that there are 2 kinds of summative assessment that we conduct. One is CIE and another is semester end examination, which is SEE. So CIE mostly consists of 2 or 3 tests of short duration. It can be 1 hour or sometimes it is also of 90 minutes duration. And CIE basically addresses mutually exclusive course outcomes, but together they address all course outcomes. So essentially, if there are say 3 tests, then what we will do is we will try to select a set of course outcomes and assess them in test 1, another set of course outcomes in test 2 and another set of course outcomes in test 3. So basically they are mutually exclusive. However, as far as SEE are concerned, they addresses all the course outcomes and is generally of 3 hours duration. So with this understanding, let us see that how do we develop the assessment plan for CIEs and SEEs. What is the meaning of assessment plan? Basically, it refers to the weightage or the marks allocated to each course outcome in the assessment instrument. So by assessment instrument, we mean question paper. Okay. So if you have a question paper, how do we know that what percentage of questions should be included in the question paper with respect to every course outcome? And how are these weightage assigned? These weightage are assigned to the course outcome in a manner that it is proportional to the number of associated classroom or lab sessions. Okay, let us see this through one example. Now, in this table, you can see that the same set of course outcomes that we have just discussed, those course outcomes are coming here. Okay, and the number of classroom hours and lab hours details is also coming. So, for example, if CO1 is dedicated 3, which means 3 is for classroom hours, while you can see CO3 is 5 plus 4 is equal to 9, which means 5 is for classroom hours and 4 is for lab hours. So, in all, we can see the total is 75 hours, including class and lab. So, the cells which are colored as orange from CO3 to CO8, basically it is indicating that they have some lab component. Okay. Now, with this understanding, how do I now allocate marks for CIE and SEE with respect to every course outcome? So, now we know that the total hours is 75 and CO1 has some 3 hours dedicated. So, what will we do? We will basically divide 3 by 75 and that is equal to 4%, which means out of 100%, 4% should be dedicated to CO1. So, the number of questions, the marks allocated to the questions from CO1 will be for 4 marks. Similarly, if you see the CO2, which means what we will have to do, we will have to divide 5 divide by 75. So, which is equal to 7. Okay. So, similarly, we will calculate all these marks for CIE and SEE. Okay. So, what is this table basically showing? It is basically showing that be it CIE or SEE, the weightage with respect to every CO should be calculated in the similar manner. Okay. Now, you can see that both CIE and SEE is rounding as 100 marks. Okay. But we know that the ratio of CIE to SEE is either 30 or 30 for CIE and another 70 for SEE, or sometimes it is also 40 for CIE and another 60 for SEE. So, in this case, what we will do is we will basically scale down 100 marks for CIE to either 30% or 40%. Similarly, we will scale down 100 marks for SEE to either 60% or 70%. Alright. So, with this understanding, now that we know that how is our assessment instrument looking like, we are very aware about the distribution, the spread. Okay. So, basically, if we are spending more number of hours for any course outcome, we are dedicating more weightage for assessment for that particular course outcome. So, it is directly proportional. Now, let us see that how do we now plan for CIE and then we will see that how do we plan for SEE. Okay. So, every university, every institute has certain guidelines. So, based on the guidelines, university related guidelines, the instructor must finalize the details of the assessment instrument to be used and the schedule for administering these instruments for CIE. Okay. So, the schedule should also be presented so that they are well spread out across the entire semester. And for each course outcome, we must decide the marks to be allocated to this course outcome out of the total marks for CIE. Okay. So, that we have already done. Similarly, the distribution of these marks over the relevant assessment instruments, it might happen that we are having more than one assessment instrument. And thirdly, the cognitive levels of the assessment item related to these course outcomes should be tagged. Okay, should be decided. Because it might happen that for one course outcome, if 4 marks are allocated, then we might choose to have say 3 marks for from understand cognitive level and another 1 mark for remember cognitive level. So, these specifics we will try to discuss in our subsequent slides through an example. Again, taking the same table, there are 9 COs, which means we are still referring to the same course on analog circuits, and previously we have also calculated the CIE marks. Okay. So, CIE marks for every course outcome that we have calculated. So, basically it is the duration of class and lab hours to the total, which is equal to 75. So we are very clear about the first column, which is the course outcome, and the second column, which is CIE marks. Okay. Now assume that we have decided that we will conduct two tests, two short tests. We will also give one assignment to the student, which can be a take-home assignment, and also there is a lab component. Okay, so all of these will comprise of the CIE marks of either 30% or 40% of the total 100%. Okay, so there are 4 components of CIE. Okay, now say we have decided that the first 4 COs, CO1, CO2, CO3 and CO4, we will try to assess them through a test, test 1. Alright, so which means the total marks for test 1 is 30. So 4 plus 8 plus 8 plus 10, which is equal to 30. So test 1 is for 30 marks. Similarly, we might also decide that for as far as CO5, CO6, CO7 and CO8 are concerned, we might choose to give a combination of a take-home assignment. There can be a class test, and also there is some lab component in it. Okay, so we understand the cells which are colored in orange, they have the lab component. Okay, so you are seeing right from CO3 to CO8, which are colored as orange, and if you see the last column which is on lab, you can see that for each of these CO we have dedicated some marks for lab. Okay, some component is being assessed in lab. Okay, and again the total weightage for the lab in all is 30. So how do we conduct this assessment? Probably there can be a demo session, there can be an application session. Along with that, there can be a oral discussion with the student. There can be some marks allocated to their record books. Okay. And in addition to that, as far as CO5 to CO8 is concerned, we are also assessing them through an test 2, right? So CO5, CO6, CO7 and CO8 are also assessed through a test, class test, the test 2. And the total marks allocated is again 30 marks. Okay. Now, as compared to all the COs, you can see that the maximum weightage, okay, the maximum duration you are spending for CO5 and CO6. Okay. So, you might decide to also give an assignment on CO5 and CO6. Okay. So, that assignment can be a take-home assignment. So, you can see that there is a assignment component which is indicated by A1 and 10 marks are allocated to it. Okay. Now, you are seeing that CO9, and if you can recall the course outcome, that is on the history aspect, you are seeing that that is not getting assessed in any of the CIEs. Okay. So, the understanding is that probably that particular course outcome is coming towards the end of the course discussion, and probably this CO9 has a better chances of getting assessed in the SCE, semester end examination. Alright. So, we have kept the 2 marks that we have allocated. So, probably this can go in the SCE and we can allocate some more marks to the assessment of CO9. Okay. So, now you can see that in all, we have tried to do some kind of adjustment so that the marks allocated to A1, that is assignment 1, 2 tests, test 1 and test 2 and the lab, it is all adding to 100. Okay. So, such kind of a plan, such kind of assessment plan will basically help you to assess all the course outcomes in a very, very comprehensive manner. And if you can declare, if you can share this assessment plan with the students a priori, probably they will also be able to prepare themselves better for all these tests, assignments and labs. Now, let us try to see that how do we plan for semester end examination, SE. So, generally SEs are conducted through written examination. We use a question paper, and the question paper may include assessment items. By assessment items, we mean questions with varied mark weights. So ranging from short answer questions, say for 1 mark, to long answer question, it can be 20 marks or more based on the course requirement. So it also depends on the nature of course outcomes. And commonly, SCE papers are divided into two parts, a compulsory section and a section that offers internal choice. Okay, so basically, if you can recall the discussion on quality of assessment, you will see that the aspect of internal choice is very much dependent on the reliability and the fairness of the assessment. So, if you are giving an internal choice, probably we are being more fair to the students, and to ensure reliability of the assessment, whenever we are trying to provide items with internal choice, we should ensure that if suppose we have given two questions as far as internal assessments are concerned, we should ensure that both the questions are from the same course outcome, same cognitive level and same difficulty level. It shouldn't happen that one question is less complex or less difficult than the other. So, in that case, probably we are actually compromising on the reliability of assessment, because the consistency of assessment will get compromised. Okay. So, it is important that whenever you are taking or whenever you are selecting one internal choice test, please ensure that both the subparts are of similar difficulty level and cognitive level. Also, they should be from the same course outcome. Now, we have planned the SE. Now, let us see the assessment plan for SE for the sample course. Okay. Now, we know that we have 9 course outcomes, and we also know that the weightage to every course outcome can be calculated by dividing the number of class and lab hours to the total, which is 75. So, we have done this exercise in our last discussion. So, you can see that all of these is adding up to 100, and here also the maximum weightage is given to CO4 and CO5 because the total marks or the total number of hours that are allocated to these course outcomes are higher as compared to others. Now, as teachers, you might also choose to make some adjustments. So, not that there will be a huge kind of an adjustment, but based on the nature of course outcomes or based on the kind of internal assessment or CIEs that you have conducted, you can also try to modify the marks allocated to every course outcome, but it should lie in the similar range. So, for example, if CO1, earlier it was 4 and now you have decided to have 2 marks. So, this range is fine, 1 or 2 marks less or more is fine, but no drastic changes need to be done. So, basically these kind of adjustments are generally done based on the kind of questions you would like to select or the kind of question paper that you would like to design as a whole. Now, now that the assessment plans are ready, the assessment plans for CIE and SE, which means we are very aware about the distribution of marks for every course outcome and also the distribution of marks for different kinds of test instruments. CIEs we have taken 4 and we have just 1 SE. Okay. After that, the next question is, how do we ensure alignment in the assessment design? Okay. So, in this case also, we take help of Anderson-Bloom's taxonomy table. So, and it helps us to ensure the alignment between the course outcomes and the assessment items. So, generally the thumb rule that one should follow is that 60% of the marks associated with each course outcome addressed by the test should be from the highest relevant cognitive level. So, what does that mean? So, say a course outcome is pitched at application level, then 60% of the questions from the course outcome should come from the apply cognitive level, and another 40% can be allocated to lower cognitive levels of remember and understand, but the majority of the questions should be from the same cognitive level. And the remaining percentage of marks associated with the course outcome can be given to the lower cognitive levels. Probably this is sounding a bit confusing. Let us again see through some example. So if you see this particular table, so what do we mean by alignment? By alignment, we mean that if say the course outcome is pitched at apply procedural knowledge, then the assessment item should also assess students' ability to apply procedural knowledge. And if you could recall, basically this is ensuring the validity of the assessment, because I am assessing what we intend to assess. So the intention is to assess the skill of application, the procedural knowledge, and the assessment item is actually able to do it. So such kind of an alignment is actually ensuring validity in the assessment. Okay. Now let us see one example to explain the logic of 60% and 40%. So again, I will show you one assessment plan for SE of this of the course that we were discussing just now. Okay. Now we know that we have 9 course outcomes, and each course outcome is of certain cognitive level that is also specified in the second column of the table. Okay. Now, what do we understand by this? So, for example, CO1, the marks allocated to CO1 is 2. Okay. So, which means we should have, if we are designing the assessment items, around 60% of 2 marks should be from the understand cognitive level. Since it is so low, probably we have decided that let us have 2 marks on understand. Okay. However, if I have to give you another example of the course outcome 5, okay, CO5 is from application cognitive level, okay, and the marks allocated is 24. So, the logic which we can use is around 60% of 24, which is equal to 14, should be allocated to apply cognitive level. So, basically the questions that you are designing for CO5, okay, so 60% of 24, which is 14 marks question, should be from the apply cognitive level. Probably another 8 marks can be from understand and another 2 marks from remember. So, if you total it all, it is 24. Okay. One may also choose to design all questions from the apply cognitive level. But in such a case, in such a scenario, there are chances that the prerequisite knowledge or the foundational knowledge related to a course outcome are not assessed fully. Okay, so it is always advisable to have some questions from the lower cognitive level also. It can range from around 30 to 40%. Similarly, if you see CO8, again it is from the apply cognitive level, and you can see that how the marks are spread across remember, understand and apply. And so if there are 7 marks allocated to apply cognitive level, that is basically indicating 60% of 11. So in all, when we are adding up that what is the total marks allocated to remember, understand and apply, we see a very balanced distribution. So most of the times when we do not have such kind of a plan, a systematic plan, it might happen that our question paper looks skewed towards the lower cognitive level. But if we have this kind of a plan, it basically helps us to create a very balanced question paper. 17 marks from remember, another 40 marks from understand and another 43 marks from apply. It is all adding up to 100, right? So this kind of a structure basically helps us to design a balanced question paper. So with this, we have completed the discussion on assessment plan. So far we have discussed about 2 stages. The first stage, which was on writing course outcomes, and the second stage, which is on developing assessment plan. The remaining discussion on designing the assessment items, how do we review them, how do we panel them, and how do we assemble a full question paper, all these discussions are part of week 5 discussion.